Welcome to Whiskey Gaming, and this is my late review of Back 4 Blood. I played on the Xbox Series X. It's also available on the Xbox Series S, Xbox One, PS4, PS5, and PC. So let's start off with the story, which really, it's not an intense story, but at least they tried to inject some story into it, but I do wish there was more to it. You are a group of survivors who are basically living in a community, and you're trying to basically run missions to help this community to, at some point even reach a vaccine and so on. And in this game, they are not zombies, they are ridden, they have these parasites in them. It's kind of gross looking. You get a decent look at it during the opening cutscene. So let's get into the audio, and the first thing I'm going to say is I really like the music, the sound effects, and the voiceover work is well done. I think the sound effects are really kind of the most important part in this game, specifically because you need those sound cues when certain enemies are approaching, as well as you need to hear certain, characters say things that will trigger you and let you know that these enemies are coming. As for the music, I think it's good enough. It's nothing that I'm gonna remember forever, but when you're in the moment and the music kicks in, it's good and it works. There's one mission that has a jukebox in it, because we haven't seen that before, but it has some awesome songs on it. Now let's get into the gameplay mechanics and whatnot, and this is a first-person squad-based zombie shooter with card elements to it. Let's address that card element. You can basically build a deck out of cards that you buy with supply points, which I gotta say, I can easily see the monetization that could happen with that, but I didn't really see it as an issue while playing. What the cards are there are challenge cards as well as there are buff cards, basically. Challenge cards can, add a challenge that will give you some extra rewards or make things more difficult, things like that, basically. As for the buff cards, you get to set up a deck and you will basically be randomly given those cards at the beginning of each section of each act, and you get to pick one. They can be a variety of things, like when you stab enemies, you kill them via melee, you'll gain health. When your health is at a certain point, if you get critical hits, you'll get health. More ammo, more health in general, etc. One of the cool things about those is they stack, they build up as you go through the acts. And each of the acts has several sections to them. And that is one unique thing for Back 4 Blood versus Left 4 Dead, because Back 4 Blood, the sections in each act can be very short. Whereas Left 4 Dead, they were all about the same length. Each act had the same number of sections, but Back 4 Blood really doesn't follow that at all. The first act has 8 or 9 sections, so does the second, I think, and then the third and fourth have fewer, but it's just divvied up very differently than what you would be expecting. Let's talk about the guns and gear in this game, and they do something that is kind of cool and unique. You basically have some starting weapons. Each of the characters has their own unique starting weapons, but there's a supply case type thing in the starting of each area where you can buy a couple of different guns. But not just that, you can buy attachments for the guns and modifications for the guns, like an extended barrel, suppressor, compensator, extended mags, different ammo, different optics. But beyond that, while you're exploring, while you're looking around, you can find other weapons cases where you can just swap out for a gun that may already have a bunch of attachments, or a better assault rifle, or a better shotgun, whatever. And it's kind of cool because you keep that better weapon through the different sections of the act. And you can get better modifications for it, because everything is, traditional RPG, gray, green, blue, purple, orange. So, you can find an extended mag that's a better quality extended mag, or, something along those lines. The sad part is, and it did really make me very sad after the first act was over, when I started the second act, I was starting my guns all over again. And that's just kind of how this game works, and it is sad and disappointing, honestly. But I guess it kind of balances out the game. As I said earlier, this is a co-op game, and while you can play it solo, I will say that it's a lot more fun playing co-op. I had a couple of friends who were able to jump on, and that was a lot of fun having people you actually know and can communicate with. But for the majority of the time I was playing it, for review purposes, I was stuck with randos. And to put it simply, as we all know, randos can be very hit or miss. I had some really fantastic groups, but then I had some really shit groups too. So that is something that does need to be taken into account when playing this game, when going into this game. I will also say, trying to get into a match with randos can take a long time. I'm not even kidding when I say it could take up to a half hour. I would sometimes start it, let the search run, and it could be, 20 minutes to 30 minutes before I got into a game. Specifically so I could continue the campaign from where I left off. Admittedly, if you just quick play, it's better than that. But at the core, it is you have a mission, get from point A to point B, find items, kill lots of zombies, kill specific zombies, kill some boss zombies. And yes, I'm calling them zombies because the Ridden are basically zombies, but I can call them Ridden if you prefer. And the cool thing is, there are a good variety of them, and at first you look at them and you go, this is gonna be a bunch of ripoffs of Left 4 Dead ones, and some of them are, some of the special Ridden are, but some of them are not, and I thought that was a cool way of going about it. They did mix it up, so it does feel more like a sequel. Since this is the same studio, you can definitely see where the core was, and then how it's grown and evolved. Let's get into the controls, and I have no complaints with the controls, honestly. Just overall, I was very happy with the controls. I think they functioned very well. Now let's get into the graphics and visuals, and this is a much more realistic looking game than I think I was expecting. I think just due to its age, Left 4 Dead now kind of has a cartoony look to it that I don't think they originally intended, whereas this has a much more realistic look to it. I like that all the characters look different from each other, so they are easy to pretty visually pick out. I like that they are highlighted when they're far enough away that you might not be able to see them, or there are objects between you. So that is very useful for the team dynamic. I also think they could have done a bit more with the world. A lot of the missions start in the same place, and some of them barely even leave that area. But overall, I think they give you a pretty good mix of areas to go through. Not as good as they could, but maybe there will be more coming in DLC or a sequel to really mix that up some more. But I can't say I was unhappy with how the world looked. I think it was a good looking world. I think it's really actually beautiful. Zombies, on the other hand, or the Ridden I should say, they're pretty goddamn gross looking, man. That opening cutscene when you get some real FaceTime with the really good graphics, they're pretty damn creepy, and the parasites climbing around in them and shit. It's kind of gross looking, which is awesome because then shooting them is more fun, But I'll also say, I like the different designs in them. I like how they mix them up. I like the way the special Ridden look. I think they did a good job with all of that and giving you a good variety in what you were dealing with. I also like the weapon selection just from a visual standpoint. I mean, honestly, running through, I don't know how much they made a huge difference in gameplay, but I like that they give you that visual difference. So to wrap this up, it's not like there's a huge amount to go into in this game. If you played Left 4 Dead, if you liked Left 4 Dead, then you're going to like Back 4 Blood because it's the sequel we've all been waiting for so long now. And to put it very simply, it's a well-done sequel in my opinion. Now obviously, if you didn't like something like Left 4 Dead, you don't want to do a co-op game, then this may not be for you. If you're looking for something that's truly strong in the story, this is definitely not for you. Story is weak as hell. But it's functional because all it needs to do is get you through the gameplay. In a game like this, where the gameplay is really where it's at. It's honestly the most fun though when you're playing with your friends. I did play solo for a couple of sections and it was fine, it was enjoyable, the gameplay is still fun. But it's really meant for the co-op, and the problem is randos, like I said, hit or miss. So if you have a group of friends, that's going to be your best experience. If you know anything about this game, you already know if you're going to like it or not, and quite frankly, if you were wanting more Left 4 Dead, I recommend this game. If you're on the fence, I recommend giving it a try because it's a lot of fun. Okay, so in the comments down below, why don't you tell me, fast zombies or slow zombies? And as always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button, and if you like what I'm doing in general, share and subscribe. Have a good one.